Let's look at some proofs with our triangle theorems, congruency theorems. This is probably one of the best topics to do our proofs on, and I don't know, maybe one of the easiest ones. So you're going to be given, oh no, not a blank screen. Where did it go? All right. You're going to be given most likely a picture of two triangles, and then you're going to be told some information about that picture. The first thing you need to do is label it. So what's this one saying? It says that PQ is congruent to ST. So let's mark that. PQ is congruent to ST. And mark that one. And QR is congruent to TR. So there's that. And R right here, this is the midpoint of PS. Remember what midpoint means. Does a midpoint mean that it's in the middle of that line segment, cutting that line segment into two congruent pieces? It is. So that means that PR and RS are congruent. So what does it want us to prove? It wants us to prove that these two triangles are congruent. And are they? Let's look at them. We got this side, this side, this side, congruent to this side to this side. They are congruent, by our side. So all that work that we just did, all that thinking, let's just put it in these boxes of our proof. So where does it start? PQ is congruent to ST. Well, we didn't come up with that. We didn't think about it that. That was just given to us. QR is congruent to TR. Again, something that was just given to us. R is the midpoint of PS. Again, that's just given. Well, most of this is done by things that were just given to us. PR is congruent to ST. That's talking about PR congruent to SR. I said ST. SR. We said that those were congruent when we were looking at our picture because of what? Because that's what midpoint means. So those are congruent because of the definition of midpoint. And so finally, PQR is congruent to STR by what? By our theorem SSS. And it is that easy. So let's look at this next one. Again, label your triangles, your picture, to see what we've got. Because you know how to figure out what theorem these are congruent by. So it's just a matter of putting it into some words in a box. So we've got FGH and FJH are right triangles. Okay, that's already labeled for us by this little box, right? They are right triangles. And then it tells us that GH is congruent to JH. So this side is congruent to this side. This side. And it wants us to prove that these two triangles are congruent. Well, let's look at our picture real quick. If we were just given the picture and asked to say if they're congruent or not, what else would we know? Well, we would know, well, they share this side, right? So that means that if I pulled those triangles apart, this side would have to be congruent to each other on each of those triangles. And we got right triangles. One of our theorems we've got with our right triangles is our hypotenuse leg. Is this our hypotenuse leg? Well, remember, hypotenuse is across from the right angles. Where did that go? So that is our hypotenuse. So this is our hypotenuse, and this definitely is a leg. So these are congruent, and are congruent by HL. So let's just put all of that information into our proof. So FGH and FJH are right triangles. Well, we didn't come up with that. We didn't figure anything out. That was just already given to us right here. Number 2, reason says given. What else was given to us? Well, this was, so GH is congruent to JH. FH is congruent to FH. That's this line right here. We said that they were congruent because they're the same side. So in our properties, in our proofs, in our triangles, whenever something equals the other thing, remember our properties, that was the reflexive property. Well, we're not changing anything. We're just saying that this equals the same thing. 1 equals 1. All right, so finally, what are we trying to prove? We were trying to prove that this triangle FGH is congruent to the other triangle. And what did we say that they were? What property or what theorem? HL. So with these proofs, the best thing is to label your picture with everything given and then look at it, because it's going to be exactly like the examples that you've already done on paper, just given the triangles, and just put into words why you're able to say that they're congruent. What is going on? What do we know?